story begins in the Hong Kong of 1949. The colony was still recovering from the ravages of the Japanese occupation in World War II, when it was suddenly faced by a new crisis. In the aftermath of the Civil War in mainland China, thousands of refugees started infiltrating across the border into Hong Kong. The colony was ill-prepared to absorb them. The economy was depressed. Jobs were scarce. Those without money or relatives to turn to faced destitution and despair. The Kadoories were moved by the plight of the refugees. After the war, the family rapidly re-established its prosperity in Hong Kong. The two brothers, Horace and Lawrence, together with Lawrence's wife Muriel, felt an obligation to help others get back on their feet. And it was the refugees who gave them an opportunity to start practicing their own brand of quiet philanthropy. This film was shot in the early 1950s. At that time, the Kadoories wanted to finance farms for the refugees. But farms need land, and the Kadoories had none. They solved the problem by persuading the government to donate 3.5 acres as an experiment. But when the first refugees saw the site, they were appalled. How could they possibly scratch a living from such rugged terrain? Recalls one of the original settlers, the land was nothing but stones. Horace was totally unfazed. He set the refugees to work clearing the land. The stones they collected built pigsties, and the Kadoories provided pigs to go in them. And free of stones, the land produced food. Soon, hundreds more families were settling new sites, and the scheme was expanded to include fish ponds. New ponds were built for poor fish farmers, and old ones reconstructed and cleaned out before being restocked. The Kadoorie Agricultural Aid Association was on its way. But the new communities were often remote and isolated. Roads and paths were needed to link them together and with the outside world. The Kadoorie solution was simple. They provided cement, which was transported by train to the new territories. The farmers hacked paths and tracks across the hillsides and surfaced them with the cement. These paths brought them access to markets and their children to schools. Whole communities were brought closer together and linked more firmly to the life of Hong Kong. To improve the productivity of the land, an irrigation network was also vital. Government engineers designed it, and the settlers constructed it with KAAA materials. These arteries pumped fresh vitality into the settlements. Irrigation improved crop yields, and so the farmers' earnings. Horace and Lawrence delighted in the progress of the association and its achievements in bringing development to the new territories. They were regular guests at the opening ceremonies marking the completion of new projects. The whole family turned out for such events. In this way also, the younger generation of Kadoories was introduced to its philanthropic inheritance. But on their frequent field trips, the two brothers felt much more must be done to help the farmers towards prosperity. The Kadoories' work was still in its infancy. They were still experimenting with new ways to assist the farmers. An obvious requirement was to help them improve farming techniques. To achieve this, the association established agricultural demonstration sites. Among the early beneficiaries were women from the Hakka clan. They, along with thousands of others, were taught new and more effective farming methods. Instruction specifically designed to suit their own circumstances helped them increase crop yields. They learned improved methods of rearing livestock. All of this they were able to put to good use in their village farms. Basic agricultural equipment could also help the villagers improve their productivity. In 1955, Horace Kadoorie started giving away threshing machines. They enabled one person to do the work of 6 in half the time. Since then, the Kadoories have distributed more than 200 to the villagers. Exploding firecrackers used to be the traditional way of frightening off crop-devouring pests. The KAAA sprayers loaded with insecticides proved far more effective. More than 2,000 of the sprayers have been distributed by the association. It was Horace's idea to create village orchards. This was another cooperative venture involving the government and the association. While Lawrence concentrated on the financial management of the association, Horace Kadoorie monitored the progress of his latest schemes. In the heat and humidity, he traveled the villages unveiling new orchards and learning as he went of problems being encountered. It is from these small but imaginative beginnings that the association has blossomed into one of the world's most efficient aid programs of today. A key to the association's success has been sound administration. This is Horace Kadoorie's special responsibility. Files are kept on every family and village helped, and every week he carefully goes through them to assess progress. The Kadoorie's experimental farm at Paknao Shek, which is the cornerstone of the association. It was deliberately established on a barren hillside. Only in this way, the brothers felt, could they demonstrate the vast farming potential of the rugged new territories. Which crops and livestock would flourish in such terrain? Money was poured into research to find the answers. Workers carved layers of terraces from the hillside. Here, experimental crops were planted and livestock bred and reared at a high altitude. The lessons learned were passed on to the farmers. Research into growing fruit trees on narrow terraces high up on the hillsides has met with considerable success. Large crops of tangerines and mandarin oranges are collected annually and serve as an example to Hong Kong's fruit growers. From the start, the farm gave priority to pig breeding. Pigs grow fast, and pork is the major source of protein in Hong Kong's diet. The local strain of Cantonese pig left much to be desired. Not only was it physically unattractive, but poor eating as well. As with the chickens, the healthiest local strain was crossbred with imported animals. What emerged was the succulent Paknao Shek Special, the pride of the farm. More than 300,000 people have been helped by the Kadoories. Among them are many heartwarming successes. Leung Chek is one of them. He arrived in Hong Kong with a wife, 2 children, 6 rabbits, and a handful of dollars. Today, thanks to the KAAA and a lot of hard work, he is a millionaire. He owns a large pig farming company which he runs with the help of his sons.
I was very interested in agriculture. Mr. Kadoorie always gave me support and visited me often. Knowing that he cared so much about me gave me the motivation I needed. So I increased the number of pigs I had from 6 to 12, then to 24, and so on, more every year. His enthusiasm made me want to help too. So gradually, I found more people who needed assistance, and I brought them to Mr. Kadoorie. I was completely broke in the beginning, and he helped me back on my feet. He cares for all us farmers and fishermen of the new territories, and we all have great respect for him and his association.
It's very important that he should be in a position where he can contribute to the community in which he lives, and that he should in that way feel his responsibilities and gain self-respect, and the mental satisfaction he gets from this type of connection is one in which he's not just on the receiving end of charity, but as a partner.
If you give a man food for a day, you feed him for a day. But if you teach him to grow his own, you feed him for life.